Hey, it's Phil, and I'm back, and we're talking Star Trek Season 2, Episode 8, If Memory Serves. Now, guys, this is actually my second YouTube video today. I did a YouTube video earlier for Classic Doctor Who, Season 1, Story 2, which is the Daleks. So check that out on my YouTube channel. I still haven't done all the promotion for it. I'm going to put it out there after I'm done all the episodes for Season 1. And you're going to be able to read the reviews on my blog, brazusa.wordpress.com. But you can get a longer version recap / review on the YouTube channel. And it's very similar to what I do with these Star Trek Discovery episodes. So I'm a little bit tired, but man, I could not do a video for tonight's episode because it was like a bombshell episode. I'll tell you what, I loved half of it, and half of it I was like, what? So definitely, yeah, split my opinion. And I'm curious as to what you think about it. But let me tell you, usually when they do previously on Star Trek, I'm in the kitchen getting whatever I'm going to get, my drinks ready for to get me comfortable to watch the show. I'll get a Coke, get some water, get some juice, whatever. But then, as I was going to the kitchen, I turned around and I saw this and I was like, what? Previously on Star Trek. And I immediately paused it, got my drink because I need my drink. And then I came and I watched the previews and I said, wow, they're actually going there. They are actually showing us some real original Enterprise. I'm moving around, as you can see. But they're showing us the original Enterprise, guys. Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. So yeah, my Star Trek heart was about to fail. And it kind of puts everything into question because what's up? So many of these YouTube channels are like, well, CBS and Paramount, they're two different entities, and this is not really Star Trek, and it's got to be 25% different, and this and that and the third. I'm like, they're using this footage, so I don't know what's going on. I have no clue what is going on, but there it is. And of course, I'm not going to show all the clips, but it was pretty much, a shortened version of The Cage and showing Pike's first visit there. And this episode is supposedly like part 2 of whatever happened in that episode. So it was exciting, and it got me really hyped. And then, we got other stuff that didn't get me as hyped. First is Section 31, which, man, I'm not a fan of these guys that just complain about everything when it comes to Star Trek Discovery. But I will admit, the Section 31 thing it kind of irks me. It doesn't super irk me, but it's like, what is it? I mean, are we supposed to be total black ops? Are we supposed to just be the shadowy organization? I'm thinking like kind of like a special forces, like Navy SEALs type stuff where nobody knows, but we know. We know they exist, but we don't have to know everything they do. Or is it total shadow organization? I'm not sure. It's confusing. I sort of trust the writers enough to think that at some point they're going to shift Section 31 into total shadow organization. And at this moment, it just isn't. But without giving us some hints or some clues that that's going to happen, it gets to be a little bit confusing if you're a fan of, every Trek series that's come before that has brought up Section 31. So we got our little, I don't know, are they admirals, whoever the hell they are. We got an Andorian there, Vulcan, whatever the heck that guy is on the right, and it looks like a human in the back. And they're talking to Leland, and Georgiou. Now, the interesting part of this scene is how you see Georgiou slowly, but very Machiavellian style. Is there like Machiavellianly? I don't know if that's a word that exists. Um, yeah, just slowly one-upping Leland. And I did read a theory somewhere that says that Georgiou is just going to take over Section 31 and take it to the Section 31 that we have now, like that total Black Ops. Like, man, this is not a place that Starfleet wants to admit exists. So we'll see. I mean, there's the Section 31 series that's going to come out. So I would imagine that that's an arc that they're going to take. But since they haven't been very clear about it, it does get a little bit confusing because it's such a glaring difference between the organization that we knew from the future and the organization that we have now. So we shall see. We'll see what happens. And then, we also, at the start of the show, before the credits come up, we have a continuation of what's going on with Michael and Spock. They're arriving on Talos. And this is a cool scene, because it looks like there's this black hole, this rift in space, whatever the hell it is. And it turns out it's only an illusion to keep people out. That's the way the Talosians have to keep people out. They use their mind power to create illusions, and they make it through. Only because Spock forces his way through, because Michael's ready to turn the ship around, and he's like, no, he does some Vulcan karate, martial arts. And this made me laugh because then Michael's like, wait, was that a deterrent or something? Oh, in the end, she says, no, it was a test. We're through the looking glass now. And he gives this look of just like, shut up. I'm sorry, at least that's how I read it. And I'm like, he's speaking to all of us Star Trek Discovery fans, some of us who really like the series, like me. I really love, I can say I love, love is a strong word. I really, really enjoy Star Trek Discovery right now. I really like season 1 a lot, despite some stuff that really irked me. And I'm enjoying season 2 a lot also, and seeing where it goes. I don't know if I'm at love level yet, but it's definitely not a dislike. But that all being said, I still haven't warmed up to Michael Burnham. I mean, she's had 1 or 2 moments, a few episodes where I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. But I don't know. I know some people accuse her of being a Mary Sue, know-it-all. She's got all the answers. It all goes through Michael. I wouldn't say Mary Sue, because I think there's a little bit more that needs to happen for a character to be Mary Sue, but definitely she's always the one with the answer, the solution, the everything. And Spock was just like, I ain't beat. Right? You think you're all that, but you're messing with Spock now. And some will say, oh, look, it's because she's a woman that you're saying, because Spock knew all the answers all the time in TOS, but actually he didn't. That's the thing. I mean, he was extremely intelligent, but there were a lot of pickles that Kirk got them out of. Sometimes Scotty had to get them out of some pickles, while the crew was on the ground and they were just like trapped down there. And Scotty usually took over the ship which I didn't exactly understand that chain of command, but whatever. McCoy, I'm sure, figured some things out, or at least in their conversations between Kirk, McCoy, and Spock. So, yeah, although Spock is superior intelligence and superior logic to everybody else, he's a bit of a supercomputer. He was never like the guy with all the answers. He would get things wrong sometimes, or that was the fun of Star Trek, the original series, the interplay between, the machine, which is Spock, versus, hey, sometimes you just need to use your human side to get things done. You got to go by instinct, which is the Kirk side. That interplay between the two. There's nobody to do the interplay with Burnham at this point in the series. Saru, somewhat. I think her best episodes are the ones where she's with Saru, because Saru pretty much gives her that same look Spock just gave, of like, you think you're hot, S. I'm trying not to curse as much, guys, making a promise to myself in these videos, because I know the kids like Star Trek, right? I think. Well, they say shit on Star Trek Discovery, so whatever. You think you're hot shit, but I can see right through you. So that was a funny look. Sorry I spent too much time on that, but I couldn't help myself. And then, now this part of the episode was extremely boring. I don't know exactly what they're trying to do. My guess is that we're dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder type awareness arc, because I don't really think it's going to build up something. Yeah, by the way, guys, I just washed my hair, so it's like fluffy. It's very fluffy, as you can see. So I have to redo it later because it's very fluffy. And it's driving me nuts because I can see it. So, yeah, Colbert, whatever, he seems to be totally not the same guy before he died, which is totally understandable. By the way, in some Facebook groups, they're like, well, maybe he's not gay anymore. Come on, guys. No, the guy has always memories. He's himself. His gayness is going to be there. But you can still be gay and be totally confused about who I am as like a human. Like, what am I doing back? I died, right? I'm on Jesus level right now. And who's this guy that wants to act as if nothing happened and just get back to being a married couple again? It doesn't mean he's not gay. It just means he's gone through some serious trauma. And we saw that if you're a fan of Trek, I mean, we saw a little bit of that happen with Spock after Star Trek 3. In Star Trek 4, it kind of takes him a while. Remember, he keeps calling Captain Kirk. Was he Admiral at the time? I think he might have been stripped of Admiral because of everything that went down in Star Trek 3. Or Captain, whatever. He calls him by his rank. And Kirk is like, Jim, call me Jim. That's what you always call me. And it takes a while for Spock to eventually come around and realize, hey, these are my best friends. These are really my best friends. I was going to say a bad word. I didn't. And yeah, and it culminates into this scene where they're in Stamets' room, and Stamets is making dinner, and Colbert's like, I don't know who I am, man, and you're treating me like nothing happened. And then he goes to the dining hall because he had seen our boy Tyler in the hallway. And I would think somebody would have prepped him for that. Come on, writers. And they end up going fist to fist, which was weird, and Saru was like, no, this must play out. I was like, what are you talking about? I mean, call security. Later he explains to Pike, because Pike was pretty pissed that he let the fight go on, but at least they had an explanation scene. I'll give him credit for that. Whereas like, well, man, he's like, this needed to happen. I mean, it was cathartic for both of these men who've been through some traumatic mind identity altering experience, because remember, Ash was Vogue, and Colbert died and came back, but Pike's like, just don't let that happen again. But overall, this was like a stupid arc. Is it leading to anything other than just being the writers trying to do a post-traumatic, PTSD storyline? If they are trying to do this, they're doing a really bad job at it. So I hope Colbert finds out who the hell he is soon, because it's really not working for me. And it ends up, this little arc ends with the breakup of the century. Cobra's like, let me move on with my life and you move on with yours. And Stamets like, no. But what can you do? The guy's been through a lot. I get it. I feel him in a way. It's just not really written that well. So for me, this was like that's why I said the episode was half and half. For me, these parts were extremely boring. And they were such a cute couple last year, right? I mean, I guess the end game to this is Stamets and Cobra will eventually be together again. Let's hope. But it's not something that's really interesting for me as a Trek viewer. Never got into the relationship episodes. So again, for those who think, oh, it's because they're gay. No, I mean, look at Troy and Riker. Ugh. Oh, just not into it. I mean, they had a few good episodes, obviously. I thought they had great chemistry in Star Trek First Contact. But it's just not something I'm into in Star Trek, the relationship dynamics. Worf and Troy was even worse. I mean, I think everybody can agree with that. I like Miles and Keiko sometimes, but I don't think they ever spent a whole episode on their relationship dynamics. They were just a cute couple. So, again, it's not a gay thing, guys. Trust me on that. But let's get back to the good stuff. The good stuff is Talos. They arrive on the planet. It looks beautiful. It's reimagined. They have those little flowers, remember, from the original the Cage episode, but they're redone, reimagined, more modern looking. And Michael goes exploring while Spock stays on the little shuttlecraft. And who shows up? It's Vina. Remember Vina from The Cage? If you don't, watch The Cage, guys. It's a classic episode. It's probably the first. Maybe I saw the Gorn episode before. Maybe. But I don't think so. I think this was the first one that I took from the local library and sat home and watched, and it scared the shit out of me. Now, I was already a fan of Star Trek before that, via the movies. But it was hard to watch the show. I don't think they had reruns at the time. This was early 90s, late 80s. So they re-released The Cage. I think it was in 87. But if I got that date wrong, I know I gotta make mistakes like that so people write comments. When they re-released The Cage in 1994, okay, it was when I got it from the local library, and it just scared the crap out of me. It was a great episode. It's very slow. I think the first time I kind of fell asleep watching it because I was kind of young, but then when I rented it again from the library, I watched it all the way through, and it freaked me out again. Those Telosians, and there they are, those big-headed little creatures. I got a big head, but these guys got big heads. They got big heads. And I think what scared me the most about them are those big heads, because they actually look like what in our world, in our reality world, a lot of people think the aliens look like, alien greys, the greys with the big heads. And it ends up the Telosians are actually, they're nice people, I guess. They just like to screw with your mind. They create a lot of fantasy, which, and this is a theory that I saw online, that all of the Discovery universe is all inside Pike's head, which would be awesome in a way. I think it would be really awesome, except though you have the whole first season, and Pike wasn't doing anything on Discovery on the first season. So yeah, I mean, unless he created a reason for him to be on the Discovery and created that whole entire backstory for everybody, it doesn't really make sense. But we do know that eventually Pike has more contact with these alien race, but that's in a couple of years. So I don't think that theory holds water, but it is kind of a cool theory in a way, right? But let's get to the meat of why they're there. They're there because Spock thinks that these are the only people, aliens, um, beings, I guess would be the appropriate word, who can fix what the heck is going on with his head, because according to him, logic failed him, emotions failed him, everything failed him. He's totally lost after this vision of the Red Angel. So the Telosians are like, okay, we'll help you. We'll let Michael see into your head, which I don't know how that helps. I mean, now it's just two people that can see into each other's thoughts, but apparently it does. I mean, he gets a little bit clear-minded, so maybe they take away some of the jumble from his mind and put it in hers. And although she has to pay the price, and the price, we'll get to that at the end, guys. Oh my God. Is that they have to look into her pain. Which reminded me of a certain other brother that Spock has called Sybok, and I'll get to that in a second because I'm going to have my wild, crazy theory. Because if everybody gets to have a theory, well, I do too. But first, we get this whole long, from the time Spock was little, he first saw the Red Angel, and Michael ran away from home, and some crazy Vulcan creature tries to attack him or attack her, and he sees his vision, tells his parents save Michael out in the woods, and then he goes on and on and on. In this scene, which would be there, I got to point in the opposite direction, remember that, it automatically reminded me of this scene down here. Now, I don't know if there's a connection. Some people theorize that Star Trek Discovery is moving towards a point where it's going to connect Kelvin with Prime, which is not necessarily canon, but, whatever. That's confusing. But definitely it's trying to connect Kelvin with the Prime universe. And even there were some theories that Spock is a Red Angel, but I don't, I think we got the definitive answer to that tonight, because Spock says she saved you, or she, so it's definitely a woman. Spock also says it's definitely a humanoid, but seeing this connection here, I don't know what that means. I just thought it looked very similar. The ice planet, in the way that they're looking up, and I think there was a creature on this ice planet that looked similar to the one that attacked Burnham. Who knows? I mean, if anybody's got theories on that, write them in the comments. See, I'm goading you guys to write in the comments. By the way, thank you everybody that's been watching these videos. Some of them get a lot of views, some of them get almost nothing. I can't figure out why. But I do enjoy the fact that you watch them, because I'm having fun. I'm having the time of my life. It's 3 o'clock in the morning here in Brazil. Man, I'm nuts, right? I'm a nutty guy being up this late. But I got nothing to do tomorrow. I'm on vacation for a whole week. I want to see me do these videos after my vacation is done. Then I'm going to be screwed. But Spock does this, he does the mind meld with the Red Angel. And he sees way out into the future, because the Red Angel is on this icy planet. As you can see, he's still got the thing on his mouth there. And he shows him the distant future. And again, I went straight to JJ's movies, and thinking the cataclysmic event might be, that thing that Spock was trying to save everybody from at the start. But I don't know. That destroyed Romulus. What we do see is a bunch of these little machine things here. On my slides, I just put Borg attack, because that was the first thing I thought of, but I don't think they're Borg. But they look like the probe that attacked Pike's shuttlecraft last week. But that was 500 years into the future. Which, well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Time-wise, kind of, well, I'm not good at Star Trek math, how far into the future that is. But it is kind of freaky, man. I don't know what's going on. Remember, there's that episode Calypso of the short treks where the Starship Discovery ends up all the way in the future. There's a lot of bad things happening in the future. There's the destruction of a lot of planets. One of them looks like Vulcan. Not sure if that's the one that looks like Vulcan. Could be because it's a little reddish. Earth definitely takes a beating. So here's more theories. What if at the end of this season, the Starship Discovery is no longer in the past and it ends up going into the future? I don't know. I have a feeling that the Starship Discovery is not going to stay at this point in time. Well, I don't even have to have a feeling. I mean, we saw in the short treks, and we saw that those short treks definitely are part of the established timeline of this show. Stuff that's actually from this show, not these little side ventures that have no bearing. So what do you guys think? Where in time is the Starship Discovery going to end up? I don't know. All the way out in the future? Now, one thing that did kind of scare me, is that he said it's a female. He said it felt a lot of pain, a lot of this, a lot of that. I hope it's not Michael, man. Because, everything can't be Michael. I'm sorry. I'm rooting for her to really develop as a character. I wasn't a fan of Janeway for the first 2 seasons. I think season 3, when she let her hair down, she got rid of that bun. That's when she warmed up. And then I loved Janeway. I was in love with Janeway, especially season 5. Most of 4, but season 5, all the way to the end. Janeway kicked butt. Same thing with Sisko. Sisko was super wooden for 2 seasons. And then shaved the head, got the goatee, and it was a different person, a different character. You fall in love with Sisko. Sisko was the baddest badass in that quadrant. So, here's looking for a new hairdo for Michael. Maybe when Michael gets a new hairdo, she will warm up as a character. So far for me, she's just been tolerable. And to make her be the the final answer to what the Red Angel is just gonna piss me off. It's gonna piss a lot of people off, I think, not just me. And we'll see. We may have had a preview of that in a second. We'll get to that. But then, while they're still on Talos, there's more looking into Spock's past, showing Michael his memories. It kind of explains what we kind of all knew, guys. Come on, did any of you really think that Spock was a murderer? Come on, Michael might have, according to Spock. But yeah, he escaped because he realized he shouldn't be locked up in this facility. Section 31 was coming, and he had a better chance of figuring out what was going on with him outside of this psych ward. So he does the classic neck pinch, kicks some butt in Vulcan karate style, and gets out, and Michael's like, well, Section 31 said you killed him. And he's like, man, see, you still don't trust me. And, do these people look dead to you? Come on, wake up. So that's enough for his memories. Back on the Discovery, though, there's some other stuff happening, which is that Vina appears to Pike. Which, again, this almost made me say, oh, man, those guys that had that Pike theory might have been right. Maybe he's dreaming all this. This is all just part of his time on Talos. But it ends up it isn't. You know, she's there to say that, look, I got Michael, I got Spock, and you need to come get him. So that's what he does. Even though Section 31 had told him, you know, don't search for Michael, don't search for Spock. Try to get as much of that debris from that future probe that tried to kill you. Thing is, when Pike is trying to get over to Talos, he tries to use the spore drive. Doesn't work. And throughout the episode, they've been saying that, oh, somebody's sending out these messages in these encrypted, you know, in an encrypted fashion off the ship. And when they finally find out who it is, oh man, I keep having that. Who it is? There you go. Turns out it's Tyler, but we, the audience, know it isn't. But apparently, you know, his signature's on there, whatever, you know, his secret signature's on there. He's the only one who would have knowledge on how to shut down the spore drive, because they figure out that, hey, the spore drive's being shut down internally. But let me see if I point correctly. Is my finger going straight up there? Remember last week? Red Eyes. Okay? We all know what's really going on. Red Eyes is like, y'all not going to Talos. So this makes me wonder, like some sort of temporal, you know, we have the temporal civil war, which, by the way, I still have not been able to finish Enterprise. I will try to watch all of it, but it just didn't grab me. I think I watched, I don't know, 18, 17 episodes of the first season, in which weren't bad. I'm not going to say they were bad. It just never grabbed me enough to continue. But I will, because I've seen practically every other episode of Star Trek in all the other shows. So, but, you know, just from being inside the Trek groups, I know that there's this supposed, you know, this temporal civil war. There's a lot of time travel stuff going on in Star Trek Voyager. So is it possible that the Red Angel is fighting for one cause, and whatever got into Arium is fighting for another cause, and trying to shut down the Discovery and not allowing it to reach the Red Angel? But then it comes into question, how did it pick the Discovery exactly? You know, because I mean, it just happened that they were there on the Kelpian planet. Just happened that the ship was there in that time rift, whatever, last week. What if it were any other Federation ship? Would it still have done the same as far as infect Arium? Or is the Red Angel kind of guiding it that way? I don't know. A lot of questions to ask there. Not sure if the writers are going to answer them, because these writers, man, I mean, they're not bad, but they're not incredible. I mean, they leave a few gaping holes, especially, I mean, with Spock. I mean, we saw that in the other scene. He was like, you still don't believe me after all this time. So you think, okay, the rift between Spock and Michael has to do something about trust. Does she show trust in him or not? But then we finally get the answer. What is the rift? And oh my God, this was like Mexican soap opera level bad. Come on. Because, the Talosians are like, okay, we'll help you unscramble Spock's mind, but as payment, you have to show us your mind, your memories, and the pain, the hurt that makes you and Spock have this break. And it ends up that it's the dumbest thing on the planet. It's or in the universe. It's because Michael wanted to run away from home because the logic extremists and the separatist groups, whatever, would never accept her on Vulcan. And she doesn't want little Spock, who's been very much in touch with his human side, let's say, in his childhood, because of her, influenced by her. He wants to go with her because he loves his big sister, and she's like, no, you can't, you're an idiot, you're this, you know. He's like, I love you, and she's like, no, you don't even know what that is, what that means. You have no emotion. You're cold. She's using like that reverse psychology, very obvious reverse psychology, on him to get him to stay behind. She even there's here you got the little girl, but it flips back from showing her as a little girl and as an adult because she's in her own memories. She's like, you half breed, you know. you, and I'm like, what? And she does that classic. I was gonna say Shaniqua, but that's her name, right? Shaniqua. It's late, guys, but she does that look. You know, I can't copy it exactly, which is so annoying. She used to do that on The Walking Dead too, when she's kind of a little angry and about to say something. She's like, you know, you half breed. It's like, come on, man. You know, she does this a lot. It's really bad. It was bad on The Walking Dead. It continues to be bad here. So sorry, tonight I'm shitting a little bit on my girl. I mean, congratulations to her for getting this role. You know, Black Power. But I just don't think it's an interesting character at all. And this whole thing with her and Spock, and perhaps your logic is built on this relationship that I have, and he's like, man, you think too much of yourself. I mean, it's out there, you know. It's kind of rewriting. Well, no, it's not rewriting. It's saying that all that the Spock that we know since, you know, the show in 67, right? 66, 67. All that we know of that Spock up to him dying into darkness, I guess the character, obviously, rest in peace, Leonard Nimoy. Everything that he's been through is because of this relationship that he had with Michael. And it's like, come on. I mean, that's the stuff that pisses fans off, because you're like, come on. Everything is on her shoulder. Like the fate of the universe is on her shoulder, on her shoulders. So it's a bit much. I didn't dig it at all, and I was kind of cringing while I was watching it. Totally not my thing. But speaking of that other brother that Spock has, Sybok, which was another wacky idea. Here's a wacky theory. Maybe he's the Red Angel, but Red Angel's a woman though, so okay, I guess we can throw that one out. But it would be cool if, you know, Sybok was coming from the future, or maybe one of Sybok's disciples was coming from the future, because somehow he time traveled and was trying to mend. This has turned out to be like Star Wars, you know, the family drama, the Skywalker family drama. Mend this relationship between all of this whole family. But I could care less about it. Seriously, I could care less. Just get it over with. Move on. Get Discovery into the future somehow, or, you know, in another quadrant, and just, yeah, family drama is just like not my thing. It's just not my thing, unless it's The Sopranos. The Sopranos did good family drama. Anyway, let's finish this out, guys. Okay, and it finishes out in pretty rudimentary fashion. Did I say that correctly? With Leland from Section 31, they find out that Discovery is trying to get Michael and Spock off Talos, so they show up. They chase them at warp speed, which was kind of a cool little scene. You saw the Discovery, and then the Section 31 ship was coming up right behind them in warp, which was kind of cool. And then they got out of warp, and then you had something weird happen, which I didn't even know was possible, but okay. Pike is trying to oh man, it's so late. I forgot how to say transport. He's trying to transport Michael and Spock off of the planet, but then the Section 31 ship, which I don't know if it has a name. Does it have a name? Uh, it is trying to do the same thing. And he's like, Leland's like, man, we both got them in our transporter beams. One of us got to let go or they're going to be split apart, you know? Or something weird like that Tuvok Neelix episode is going to happen. When we don't want that. No, trust me. Imagine a Michael Burnham Spock, like Spikle. You know, that would be really, really bad. We don't want that. So that Vina, she kind of appears to Pike, like behind his shoulders, like, man, let them go, let my people go. And I mean, you could see the ending a mile away because the Section 31 people do get them, but they get the, whoops, sorry, there, fake version. That's where I think from the previews you have that say goodbye Spock, goodbye Spock. And so well, Spock knows a joke because he's clearly better at this point. So it's not mental retardation Spock or mental psychosis Spock. It's Spock actually getting the joke, which is kind of cool. But yeah, they kind of dissipate after a few minutes because you can't keep that image when it's very far away. The people of Talos have a limited range for their illusions. And of course, our heroes show up on the Discovery, coming in via a shuttlecraft. And this means that now the Discovery's on the run, okay? Because they got a fugitive and someone who abetted a fugitive. And, well, this last scene was kind of cool. Great chemistry between Spock and Pike. And he kind of has a little smile. And Pike says, hey, is that a smile? I see it. And he acknowledges, yes, when I see you, I smile. So it's interesting how he has such a close relationship with Pike. Obviously, the classic relationship he has is with Kirk, but much more serious, right? I don't think I've ever seen Spock smiling with Kirk. I don't know. Different relationship. Anyway, and yeah, I mean, we see that, that way, right? On the left here. That was shown in the original. Obviously, the original. At the beginning, during the previously on Star Trek Discovery, we had a little bit of that going on as part of the montage to show previously, Spock smiling. So obviously, Star Trek Discovery is trying to tie a few things in from canon, from the original show, and try to explain what appear to be plot holes. They haven't quite explained how it is that Pike went from misogynist to non-misogynist, if y'all recall from The Cage. It's a joke, guys. Okay? But, yeah, smiling Spock. I mean, I remember I just rewatched The Cage maybe 2 years ago. And I had forgotten that, because first time I watched it, I was like, 10 or 11? I totally forgot that. And aside from Pike obviously saying, I'm not used to seeing women on my bridge, the thing that struck me the most was like, wow, Spock is not the Spock we know in this episode. Understanding, of course, that it was a pilot. It's just, to try to sell the show. It was never aired originally, right? I think Where No Man Has Gone Before is the official first episode, that Americans got to see, I think, right? So cool. I mean, it is what it is. You can kind of just forget it. This was the prototype for Spock, the almost there Spock. His eyebrows, I think, are a little too high. Even the color of his skin wasn't exactly how it looked later in the series. And of course, he's much more emotional than he is in the Kirk version of Star Trek. But, you have all the Trek fans who, the canon the canisters, we'll call them, uh, who are like, man, Spock smiled, Why did Spock smile? Man, he smiled because they hadn't perfected his character. But it's kind of cool that Discovery, in a way, I guess, is trying to explain what it is that made Spock go from this version of him, which was much more connected to his feelings, his human side, to the version we get in Star Trek post, Kirk and beyond. So if that's what Discovery's trying to do, cool. See where it goes. And it kind of fixes that little bit of difference between the two Spocks that we know. Okay? But that makes sense? I don't know. Man, I'm almost at 50 minutes. And can you believe it? When I was about to make this first I didn't even want to do it because I said I'm tired as hell. I did the Dalek one, and man, that Dalek episode, it was like 2 hours. It's 7 24-hour little mini episodes. So you do the math. I suck at math, so I'm not even going to do the math. I'm just going 20 times 7 is 140 minutes. 120 minutes is 2 hours, so it's more than 2 hours. There you go. That's like my basic math. So it was a lot of work. So I didn't even want to do this. And I said to myself, all right, this was a cool episode. There were parts of it that I didn't like that much, parts of it that I really enjoyed. So I'll put like 4 or 5 little pictures together and talk for like 10 minutes. That was my mentality. And look at that. We're at 46. It's going to be one of the longest ones that I've done. So hopefully a lot of you watch and comment and give your opinions. And, do what you do, man. Do what you do. If you got some opinions, write them down. And we shall talk about it. But, young boy does have to go to sleep. So thanks for watching. As always, live long and prosper. As always, please like and subscribe. And if you look there at the bottom, you got my blog where I write about more than just Star Trek. Pretty much anything that I watch, that I eat, that I do is going to be on that blog. Because it's just my life. It's my life in Brazil, which is why it's Bra. Oh my God, look at that. You want to see something cool, guys? Something really cool. How about this being really cool? It's live. Live. How about that? That's my blog. We can go back to the first one, and the first one I wrote it, right? Okay. So yeah, this is how we do it, right? When you do it live, you screw up sometimes. But yeah, Brazusa. So we got Brazil, B-R-A-Z, and USA, because I grew up in the US, but now I'm living here in Brazil and doing my thing. Thanks for watching. I can't wait for next week, I guess. Section 31, the ship being attacked. We do get to see a little bit of what the robot chick is up to. We passed the midway point last week. I got 14 episodes, right? So now we got 7 left. This is the home stretch. Let's see where this adventure is going to take us. Season 1, that was a hell of a home stretch. I really enjoyed it up to the last episode, which I thought was pretty weak. But everything from episode 6 or 7 onward, man, that got me hooked on Star Trek Discovery. And let's see if they can do the same here. There's a lot of stuff going on. I do see that episode 10, which is not next week, but the week after, is called The Red Angel. So perhaps we get some answers coming up. Some hard answers. After The Red Angel, you got 4 episodes left. We got Perpetual Infinity, and then I don't have titles for the other episodes. So that's it. I just kind of wanted to get to 50, man. I like round numbers. Look at that. We got 10 seconds left. Can we do it? Can we do it? Are you with me? Are you with me? Have a good night, guys. Much love to you. This is Phil Ray signing off.